Thank you very much. And, as the old saying goes, blessed are the peacekeepers. And I wish everybody that is attempting to end the conflict in Sudan every success. But let me be pessimistic about it because I think there's no point in being unrealistic about what is going on. I mean, if Mr. Stenson can manage to achieve what he is attempting to do, then I would be the first to cheer. But I mean, the words like, this is an African problem, must be solved by Africa is, I'm afraid, doesn't bear looking at. Who remembers the Africa standby brigades on which huge sums of money and training effort were put in place to try and halt these kind of activities? Can you remember when they were last deployed? I don't think they even exist. So I think Africa is not a way forward. The Trump administration, I see little indication that they have any interest in getting involved in Sudan. After all, they are perfectly happy to tolerate the appalling situation in Gaza, whatever they say about it. And if you look at Ukraine, I mean, how many hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people have already died? And President Trump is perfectly happy, as far as I can see, to tolerate what President Putin is doing. And although he keeps talking about sanctions, they never arrive. So I think we have to be realistic about what is happening. The war in Sudan is, in the end, continuing because it reflects real situations of outside actors like the UAE and, of course, other actors that haven't been mentioned yet. But let me just put the other question that is always on the table, which is the deep divide between the people that live along the Nile and the people that live in the periphery. And that is behind a lot of the things that go on. And if one looks at where the RSF comes from, part of it comes out of the brigades which were established by Gaddafi many, many years ago, which still had reverberations in Chad and in Libya. And we haven't mentioned General Haftar and his role in supporting the RSF. We have talked about the UAE and how they are flying in assistance, support, and medical activity, sometimes through Uganda as well. And they are bolstering the role of the RSF. And there seems to be no interest in ending that. And I think we have to just be realistic about where that is. The other actor that had a big role in the past, but has been more complex recently, was the Wagner Group with the Russians, although the Africa Corps is still involved. And a lot of the gold that was mined in Sudan was eventually going back to Russia and paying for the Ukrainian war effort. And these are the things that are behind the scenes. Everybody knows about them, but until you deal with these things, there is really little opportunity of reaching a concrete path to peace. So my view is that this is highly likely to just continue. The suffering will continue. The starvation that Lenny has so admirably described will continue. And if you want to see what the world community is prepared to do and prepared to accept, including the African Union, look at what happened in the situation in Tigray, where between 400 and 600,000 people died, and no journalist was allowed to go into it. The Ethiopians tolerated it. In fact, they pushed it. Their troops, the Eritrean troops, attempted to crush the life out of the Tigrayans. Did anybody get involved? There were lots of kind words, but there was no action. And I'm afraid that is the most likely scenario that we are going to see in Sudan. It is not high enough up anybody's priority list, certainly not President Trump's, to get involved in the way that Aisha correctly pointed out. And I fully agree with her. The only person who could really do something about it is President Trump. I see no interest in him getting involved in that. You will remember how he described African countries in an appalling way, which I will not repeat. But that is his attitude towards them. Why would he waste his time, money, and troops in really pushing this on, especially when the UAE is quite capable of bribing him, quite frankly, and has done so in the past. So I'm sorry, but I wish the peacemakers every success. I think that they have an uphill battle, and I think there's little likelihood of this being resolved rapidly. If it is, I would be the first to say thank goodness. But I think that we are likely to see more suffering, more conflict, more war, and more deaths. And I think that is where we are actually at. Thank you.